Good evening and welcome to the May 4th, 2016 City of Hollister Planning Commission meeting. Can I have verification of agenda posting, please?
Thank you, Chair. The agenda for the May 4th Planning Commission meeting was posted Friday, April 29th at 4:33 p.m.
Thank you, Bill. Commissioner Torres, will you lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gabriel. Can I have roll call, please?
Commissioner Harvey.
Here.
Commissioner Torres.
Here.
Commissioner Lenore.
Present.
Chairman Huboy.
Here.
I will note that Commissioner Alvarez is absent this evening.
Okay. Looking for approval of minutes dated February 25th, 2016.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Communications from public on items not listed on the agenda. Any speaker cards?
I have no speaker cards.
Anyone in the audience care to address the commission on any item not on the agenda? We go into public hearings. Item number 1, tentative map 2016-2. Kutz requesting to subdivide 4.34 acres into 20 lots, total of 19 units, with one detention basin lot. The property is located south of Hillcrest Road, west of Clearview Drive, and east of El Cerro Drive, being more specifically described as assessor's parcel number APN 020-120-143 and 020-120-141, CEQA mitigated negative declaration. Staff report, please.
So the applicant is requesting approval of a major subdivision which totals 19 units with one detention basin lot encompassing approximately 4.34 acres in the R1 LPZ Low Density Residential Performance Overlaying Zoning District. The average single-family lot size would be 6,773 square feet, and the minimum lot size would be 5,338 square feet. The tentative map has a density of 4.38 dwelling units per acre. Access to the site will be provided by new roadway connections from El Cerro Drive and Sawtooth Drive. The tentative map 2016-2 is also proposing to connect the existing streets and provide connectivity for vehicles, pedestrians, and public safety for improved circulation. The site layout and interior roadway allows for continuous traffic circulation. The current park facility master plan recommends the development of 5-acre neighborhood parks within walking distance of half a mile. There is an existing city park known as Las Brisas Park, which is approximately 1 acre in size, with a play area, picnic tables, and open turf area located south of El Camino de Vida, east of Nez Perce Drive, and west of Clearview Drive. The park is located less than 0.2 miles from the site at Sawtooth Drive. A second park location is the Veterans Memorial Park, which is located 0.25 miles from El Cerro Drive. Las Brisas Park is located less than a half a mile from the project site. Therefore, staff recommends that an additional park location not be provided for the tentative map 2016-2.
Thank you. Thank you. Maria?
We have
still
additional information, Chairman, if that's okay.
My apologies.
No worries.
Continue, please.
Thank you. As seen on the screen, on March 17, 2014, the City Council approved the initiation of pre-zoning for this property. On April 23, 2015, the Planning Commission approved Planning Commission Resolution 2015-10, recommending to the City Council the approval of the pre-zone to pre-zone the property to single-family residential, consistent with the general plan. On June 1, 2015, the City Council of the City of Hollister approved ordinance number 1117, pre-zoning the parcel as low-density residential, and approved a resolution to adopt the mitigated negative declaration. On December 3, 2015, LAFCO approved the annexation of the parcel into the City of Hollister. On June 1, 2015, as mentioned, the City Council of the City of Hollister adopted the mitigated negative declaration for pre-zone 2014-10. Per Transportation Traffic Mitigation Measures 16-1, 16-2, and 16-3, additional traffic impact analysis was to be completed, which evaluates potential impacts of the proposed project on the regional roadway systems. EMC, which is one of our consultants, one of the city's consultants, provided a supplemental traffic analysis for this pre-zone, and City of Hollister Development Review Committee determined that the additional traffic impact analysis conducted complied with the transportation traffic mitigation measures. The minimum lot size for tentative map 2016-2 would be 5,338 square feet, and the average lot size would be 6,773 square feet. The subdivision meets the city standard of 5,000 square foot minimum lot size for single-family homes in the R1 low-density residential zoning district. The project is consistent with the general plan land use policy 1.5 for underground utilities, because all utilities, including gas, electric, cable, telephone, and fiber optic conduits, shall be underground to serve the lots in the subdivision. Also, the project is consistent with land use policy 3.2, street trees, because the development would include street tree planting and other open space features to maintain visual quality in a small town atmosphere. The project site is also consistent with land use policy 4.4, streets, paths, and bikeway, because it contributes to the city's transportation network, and land use policy 8.4, neighborhood scale, because the project site will preserve and enhance the character of the existing residential neighborhood. With this, staff recommends the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and consider approving tentative map number 2016-2, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. Are there any questions for staff?
I just a comment on our computer here. Are you getting, when you click on site plan, are you getting all the layers? No, we're still not getting all the layers on our site plans.
On the
older version of PDF.
Yeah.
the PDF
Yeah.
on the computer is not popping up.
Right.
Really? Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for letting us know. We can
Okay.
see if we can have our IT person.
See if we can look into that. Yeah.
Maria will be contacting them right now.
Any questions for staff? None? Okay.
I guess I could ask it now.
Yes. Yes, you may.
I mean, it's going to be a public hearing, but maybe I just don't. Is that going to be a street right there? The lots 5, 6, 7, and 8. Is that a new street going to go there?
Yeah. So
And then is the Del Curto's going to come right up to it? Is that it?
that's correct, Commissioner Lenore. It's more of a private driveway for lots 5, 6, 7,
so
and 8.
it is a private driveway.
Yeah.
Is it
and
gonna? It's gonna dead end right there.
It is. There is a
There's
condition.
lots. Okay.
There's a condition in the resolution which requires that access is only for
Okay.
5, 6, 7, and 8,
That's what I was wondering.
and no go through
Yeah.
to the Del Curto property.
That's interesting how they did that. I know you don't see that all the time. It's probably they
That's
had
correct.
to do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just in summary of the traffic reports and the supplemental traffic report, reading through it, it seems like the analysis on the immediate intersections is level A, but the ones that are Clearview and Hillcrest and Highway 25 are level D and F and E, I think. But the impacts didn't warrant any signalization. Is that correct in my executive summary?
That's correct. As proposed, yes.
Okay.
Chairman Hubei. Yes.
All right. Any other questions for staff? I will now open the public hearing at 6:15. Anyone in the audience care to address commission item number 1? Is the applicant here this evening?
The applicant is here, Chairman Hubei.
Any questions for the applicant?
I don't.
Okay. No questions for the applicant. I'll close the public hearing now at 6:16 and bring it back to the commission for any discussion.
I like the infill, so I'm happy about that. I think that it goes consistent with the rest of the neighborhood being a single family. It's going to be a nice addition to the houses that are already there, especially across the street. I know they were concerned, but I think they're going to have a nice looking development across the street from them. So hopefully it'll all gel together.
That's, looking at the site plan, that's quite a large detention pond in relation to other sites. I guess that's what we'll be looking at in the future. Any other comments?
I'll make a motion, Chair, to approve tentative map 2016-2 PC resolution
15.
2016-15 as presented.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 1 has been approved. Congratulations. We go on to item number 2, Site and Architectural Review 2016-2. Efren Correa, requesting site and architectural approval for the construction of a 2-unit multifamily development on a property with an existing duplex on a .32 acre site in the R4 high-density residential zoning district. The property is located at 1531 Valley View Road, being more specifically described as Assessor's Parcel Number 057-250-001, CEQA categorically exempt.
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Abraham?
Chair. The applicant is requesting site and architectural approval, as you mentioned, for the construction of a 2-unit multifamily development on a .32 acre site with an existing duplex for a total of 4 residential dwelling units in the R4 high-density residential zoning district. Site plan illustrates that the project will include private open space, new walkways, parking, and vehicular access points from Valley View Road. The site currently has 2 existing residential units. The proposed residential units would consist of 2 4-bedroom, 3-bath units. The building would be 2 stories tall at 25 feet in height. We'll have an elevations sheet there. The proposed elevations would have a stucco finish and composition roof. The new residential building would be placed 16 feet and 6 inches from the existing duplex and will have a 10-foot setback to the east and south property lines, consistent with the R4 side and rear yard setback requirements of 10 feet to the rear and 5 feet or 1 foot per 3 feet of height, whichever is greater to the side. The plans illustrate that each unit would have its own laundry facilities. The existing residential unit number 1 would have 185 square feet of private open space. Existing residential unit number 2 would have 1,501 square feet of open space. Proposed residential unit number 3 would have 355 square feet of private open space, and proposed residential unit number 4 would have 670 square feet of private open space. The project meets private open space requirements per section 1704.040 multifamily residential general development standards. There's also a 400 square foot area of common open space located to the west of the proposed duplex.
The site plan also illustrates vehicle access from Valley View Road per table 17.18-1. Off-street parking and bicycle spaces required by land use type. Multifamily housing requires 1.5 spaces per 1 or 2 bedroom unit spaces for each unit with 3 or more bedrooms, and guest parking requires 1 space per every 4 units. The project has a total of 4 residential units with more than 2 bedrooms, which would require a total of 9 vehicle spaces. The proposed project is providing 10 parking spaces, including 1 enclosed parking and 9 surface parking spaces. The project meets off-street parking requirements per section 17.18.060, number of parking spaces required per Hollister Municipal Code. On February 26th of 2015, the Planning Commission approved a resolution for the approval of 2 residential allocations for the proposed project here being discussed. The property is located outside the Alquist-Prilo Special Studies Seismic Zone. The property is located outside the FEMA flood zone per firm maps that are dated April 26, 2009. Therefore, staff recommends that the Planning Commission reviews the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and consider approving site and architectural application number 2016-2, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution.
I have a couple of comments.
Sure.
So if you look at the west elevation, that's the elevation that's facing Valley View Road.
Correct.
Right?
Yes. I brought it up before. There was a reason they were facing it north.
Correct.
The front. I don't remember what it was, but
That wall, I know part of it's tucked behind the existing building,
right.
but the wall that's facing there, I mean, we need to break the mass of that wall up. We can do it with the windows.
The east wall doesn't have any window.
Yeah. So I do have some concerns about that west elevation.
Because it's a major thoroughfare right
Yeah.
there.
Yes,
We need to address that up a little bit.
Chairman Hood, this is a place where a condition can be placed.
Yeah.
I know that there's a bedroom that's facing the west elevation.
Yeah.
It could be that, I mean, it is categorically exempt. We didn't do a noise study for this because it is infill development, but since the parking is proposed on the west side, the bedroom there on the second story, there is a window facing to the...
Oh, do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, actually, there's a window. That one, I think it's on the bathroom, but the other one on the bedroom,
Yeah.
there is a window facing sunny slope. To the
Yeah, it's facing north.
Yeah.
to the north,
But
correct.
We're talking about the
elevation.
west
So-
elevation, right?
So I'm thinking one of the reasons why they didn't put one on the west elevation could be because of the noise, potentially noise
Okay.
for the vehicles.
Okay.
However, it is going to be set back quite a bit, and if you wish, if your desire is to add a condition to dress it up, that would be consistent to our zoning
There
to
are
add a
ways
window.
There are other ways of doing that without windows. Put like a cultured stone wainscot or something.
Absolutely.
on that wall.
There,
I mean,
I think something needs to be a little more than since it's since that's right there on Valley View, and you will see it.
yeah.
absolutely, we can add a condition that if it's a desire of the planning commission to include
I think that would be
either a
within the
window.
best interests of the commission.
I agree with David.
Okay. Also, on the landscaping, I know we don't have a landscape requirement, and we talked about this earlier for residential. So what we're looking at here is permeable pavers and maybe plastic grass.
It's
And
a
then I was thinking, do we have like a template of preferred landscaping to hand out to applicants?
we
Yes.
have
We
a
do.
water
Have we
efficient landscape
updated
ordinance.
that for drought tolerant?
We
Yes.
have to follow the water efficient landscape ordinance. We basically follow the state's regulations, and it's
Okay.
it's in our
So we're keeping that current then?
it's in our Title 16 of the Hollister Municipal Code for subdivisions, and yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good. Any questions?
Abraham, I do have a question. So,
Sure.
given that the applicant is adding 2 additional units for a total of 4 residential dwelling in a high density, is there a need for a trash enclosure, or is there just going to be a series of trash cans out in front of this complex?
Good question, Commissioner Torres. At DRC, that was one of the questions that we had. Normally, with the commercial or industrial site and architectural review, it's required, and then also in some multifamily. So it just depends where the trigger is. Like if it's 4 units, if it's 5, if it's 6. So at DRC, what was recommended is to call Recology and ask them if they prefer to have one, and if so, then we would require in a notice of incomplete for the applicant to revise the site plan to show. We called Recology, and Recology indicated that an individual can for each unit would work best for them. So therefore, we didn't require it as a condition.
I didn't know that. I got
So it's not
those
a
7
requirement.
units there on San Benito, and that's a lot of trash cans out there in a very little area. Maybe they're going to do. I'll have to look and see. On
Oh,
the plan.
Yeah.
Just as another general comment, I know we have, is that to the applicant, you have like 20, is it 21 or 22 feet between those
22
stalls?
driveways.
That's going to be a tight backup. Think that'll
Our
work?
engineer concurs.
It's tight. Got an overhang, I think, what is our stall length? Isn't it 18 feet for regular stall? So then you've
9 by
got a
18.
little overhang into the landscape area there, the 4 foot.
Hmm.
That'll help a little bit, I guess. That's still tight back up. Okay, just a comment.
Very well. And that was part of, just to, their original submittal, their parking was designed to back out into Valley View. And again, at DRC, especially meeting with the engineering department, with David, it was recommended that they should revise their site plan to not allow for vehicles to back out into Valley View
That's
and
good.
I
rather.
know like in San Jose, they require 26 feet.
Oh,
And then we were kind of going down to 24
mhm.
here, and now this is 22. That's really tight. Okay, just my comment. Any other questions?
Not for me.
I will open up the public hearing at 6:26. Any speaker cards?
I have no speaker cards.
The
I have no
applicant-
speaker cards.
The applicant care to address the commission? Any questions for the applicant?
No.
Close the public hearing now at 6:27.
Entertain a motion? Or more discussion?
Any further discussion on this item?
Not for me.
I will
Okay.
entertain a motion.
I move that the planning commission adopt PC resolution PC 2016-16, approving site and architectural 2016-2 to construct the duplex.
Would you like
We're going to add a condition on the
Yes.
Oh,
proposed
excuse
elevation.
me, and adding, how do you want to phrase that for the record?
Need to break up the mass of the wall.
a condition to break up the mass of the wall of the west elevation of the building on the
Okay.
second story?
And then
Right.
you'll just do an administrative approval for that?
Correct.
That's my motion amended.
I'll agree to that motion. Second? Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 2 has been approved. Congratulations.
Yeah.
We go to item number 3, MD. I'll read the item here. It is Site and Architectural Review 2016-3 USS United Sign Systems requesting site and architectural approval for the construction of a freestanding sign in the General Commercial Zoning District at 550 Tres Pinos Road, being more specifically described as Assessor's Parcel Number 056-260-004. CEQA is categorically exempt. Before we go into the staff report, I just wanted to acknowledge that I did receive an email from Councilman Carson Clower, who's here this evening on this item, and I did have a discussion with you,
Yes.
Abraham,
Yes.
regarding Carson's concerns, and that was the extent of it.
Thank you for your discussion.
Okay.
So,
Oh, sorry.
who do you want to give the staff report, Maria?
I would
Are
like
you,
to.
by the way, are you the new
Yes.
planner?
Assistant
I don't want to.
Assistant planner? And Jill is, she
She moved on.
moved on.
She is now in San Luis Obispo.
So,
She took a position in San Luis Obispo.
or what, I'm sorry.
Caltrans District 5 office.
She did. She's working for Caltrans?
Also,
Yes, she is.
Wow.
that's
We're
good for
gonna-
us.
Yeah, that is good for us.
We miss her, but we're happy for her.
I'm happy for it
Yeah.
too. And I'm also happy for you, Maria. Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so, just
Can we
want to
get
say
past Jill?
congratulations, Maria. Welcome on board.
Got off
Okay.
track a little.
Yeah. So, and
Okay.
you may proceed with the staff report.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the applicant is requesting approval of a 50-square-foot double-sided illuminated monument sign at 550 Tres Pinos Road in the General Commercial Zoning District. The sign would be located in the northeast of Tres Pinos Road and Loud Lane intersection. The sign will be 15 feet tall with a face area proposed at 6 feet and 8 inches in length by 7 feet and 6 inches wide, a total of 50 square feet. And it will be set back 10 feet from Tres Pinos Road. The shopping center's address will also be directly under the tenant's panel using painted black, half-inch thick, and 6-inch long acrylic numerals. The pole cladding would be 8 feet and 4 inches tall from the ground to the base of the sign and would be 15 inches thick by 24 inches wide. The pole cladding would be aluminum construction and have a Benjamin Moore ivory color. The monument sign complies with the standards for placement and orientation of the lot, and it is consistent with the standards for freestanding signs in the zoning ordinance for the General Commercial Zoning District per section 17.20.130 of the Hollister Municipal Code freestanding sign regulations, which are a freestanding sign shall be at least 10 feet from the nearest curb and be placed within a landscaped area. a freestanding sign shall not exceed over a public right-of-way. And the supports for any freestanding sign shall also be located entirely in or upon private property.
In addition, the code also reads that a freestanding sign shall not be closer to an interior property line than 1/2 its height. A freestanding sign should not be closer than 100 feet to another freestanding sign. A freestanding sign should have a maximum of 2 sides. A building permit is required for a freestanding sign. The number of tenant names on a multi-tenant ground sign is limited to 5. For multi-tenant signs in a commercial district, only each tenant name should not be less than 6 inches in height, with a minimum of a 4-inch space between tenant names. Street address numbers shall be clearly displayed on the freestanding sign for easy visibility by passing motorists. Street address numbers shall be a minimum of 5 inches. And the sign should be to scale and orient signs along the street to both pedestrians and motorists. The face of the sign as originally proposed consisted of 2 tenant panels, grocery outlet in dark red vinyl decoration and Dollar Tree in vivid green vinyl decoration. Since the release of the staff reports to the Planning Commission, the applicant has been collaborating with other tenants in the shopping center for the modification of the face of the sign only to include additional tenant names. The revision includes a 3rd tenant name as shown on the screen. The revisions do not include any changes to the structure of the sign or the placement, only to the face of the sign. So at this point, pending your approval, the property owner or the applicant would then come back to the building department for a building permit. And at that time, right now they're working at either having a face which shows 3 tenant signs as presented in the screen in front of you, either 1 on top and 2 smaller side by side, or 3 more longer tenant names. So we would just make sure that at that time they come in and that they meet the minimum size of the lettering, 6 inches, so that way they won't be too small for motorists, and we would review it at that time. However, the structure will not change, the setbacks will not change, all as proposed as you got on your staff report. With this, staff recommends that the Planning Commission hold a public hearing and review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and approve site and architectural review application number 2016-3, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. Are there any questions for staff?
So if I understand this correctly, we're reviewing the size, the setbacks, and the applicant come back and add a total of 5 tenants to the sign, exceed the number that we're seeing there today, and work with as administrative approval on the number of tenants.
That's correct.
Correct? Okay, great.
Say that again? They're gonna add some later, is that what I'm hearing?
No, they're
just proposing which design, because you've confused me now. That one right there?
correct. So what you got in your packet, Commissioner
one on the
Lenore,
right, the
was
left
that
or the
one right
right?
there. That's what you got in your packet.
And they
So now they want to add at least one more tenant panel, but right now they're working with other tenants in the shopping center to either have it like this, still meeting the minimum size requirements on the tenants, or like that. They're trying to work.
Either way, they're only gonna have 3 tenants
Correct.
on the whole sign.
That's what they're working on right now. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. But they're allowed a total of 5.
No more than 5.
As long as you
5
have...
tenants on one sign?
Yes.
Correct.
As long as the letters are at least 6 inches. Is that
That's
correct?
correct. That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
I have comments, but I'll wait till after the public hearing.
Sure.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the staff report?
No, not really.
Okay. I will open the public hearing at 6:35. Any speaker cards on this item?
I don't, but do you want to speak, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, so he's been sitting there the whole
I'll
time.
get
I
you
didn't
to
even
fill out a speaker
recognize
card
him.
later.
Mike, I didn't even recognize you.
It's because I'm getting older.
I'm so sorry. I almost gave you a big hug.
I think last time you saw me, I was down.
Oh, no.
We were both down a little bit. No, I was just wanting to ask the.
Excuse me, can I get your
Michael
full
Sicoli
name,
from Round
please?
Table Pizza.
Mike?
Yes.
Pardon?
Sicoli.
Michael Sicoli,
Thank
Round
you.
Table Pizza,
Okay.
owner, operator,
Uh-huh.
and I'm also property owner in that shopping center.
Okay, thank you.
So, Mike, I'm just asking the commission if they would consider the two signs below on this third rendering, the Dollar Tree, and the future tenant would be Round Table Pizza is what I'm proposing, or what we're talking about put in there, is to add approximately 4 more inches to that sign to make it a little more proportionate, because being 12 inches by 7.5 feet is just going to be kind of a squish sign for Round Table Pizza. So if we added about 4 more inches, it would be a little more proportionate to the signage that we normally use with Round Table Pizza in our franchise.
If he adds 4 more inches, he's still within the,
It would increase the size of the sign approximately 7.5 square feet. So instead of 50 square feet, we'd probably be at about 57.5.
So
If
if
that's
that-
about right, Sean?
You're saying 4 inches
On each
per
one.
face, so a total of 8 inches.
Right. Yeah. So it would increase the sign from 50 square feet to 57.5 approximately, according to.
but the current regulation is 50 square feet, is that correct?
That's correct, Chairman Huboy. There is an exception to add an additional 25%, which would be another 12.5 square feet, but that's only if it's tied to an aesthetic architectural addition to the freestanding sign, not necessarily for sign square footage. The sign square footage is limited to 50.
So they can add 25% for, and this, what you're saying, for aesthetic reasons?
Yeah, like if they added like a little pediment to the top of the sign.
If I can give you a good example, I think you folks approved one at Heritage Plaza in front of Speedy Lube or Rite Aid. What it has is it's a multi-tenant sign, but if you'll notice the top of the sign, it says Heritage Plaza. It's identifying the plaza,
Oh, I see.
and that's what you get, and that's why you approved that particular size. But the signage or the face of the sign has been always limited to 50 square feet.
So the applicant is requesting to increase the sign area to include additional tenants.
Right, and
Is the applicant here? The applicant?
We're the applicant.
Okay.
He was wanting to enlarge it for his.
Then I guess I'll ask my question because it is, I don't know who wants to answer it. But what about the rest of the tenants in the shopping center? Was there any interest in the rest of the people in there being on this, in my opinion, rather large sign? That was my question. Do they don't have any advertising out there?
Yeah, I believe they may have interest, but it may be a cost issue. I can't speak for them.
Okay. All right, so there probably is interest and, well, okay.
So what's them, Bill?
Again, this is a super unique situation, okay? Because one of the things is that in this particular shopping center, I don't know if we have this slide, but you have multiple owners, right? We kind of looked at it, though, as one shopping center. It functions as one shopping center, so let's pretend that it's a one shopping center, and it meets sort of the minimum, I think it's the medium size or the small shopping center as far as acreage. It's under 10 acres. That's where the 50 square feet comes in. That's where the number of signs on the kind of in the project plays a part. Now, again, I hope, and I don't want everything to kind of sort of get confused, but what we're asking for, what the staff is asking commission, or the applicant is asking commission for, is approval on the site and architectural of the sign, location and of the sign, and the size of the text. As you know, businesses come and go, right? And I don't want you to get hung up on Grocery Outlet, Dollar Tree, Round Table, Boost Mobile, all the other things, because those can change. The person who has or owns or operates the sign can have as many as 5 tenant signs out there of various sizes, as long as the text meets the appropriate.
You see other signs show a lot of the, stores on there, not just 3 in other shopping centers.
Well, for instance, Kmart has a larger one. I mean, there's more multi-tenant
Well,
signs
it's
on
old.
that, on the Clower building.
Yeah.
or
Let
the
me
old
bring
Clower
that
building.
up then.
Huh?
Here's something I do want to bring up. We just across the street, when they did the Pinnacle 2 building, the commission, remember, said that they favored the monument sign that was down to the ground. That, isn't this more like a pylon sign? This to me is not a monument sign. It doesn't have a base. Well, it does, but it's a pole. It's a pole. It's not like the commission said that they were more leaning towards. You think you were on there that they like the monument better. So they even redesigned that Pinnacle 2 sign to comply with what they want. So now we have this. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That they said they wanted to see monument signs
More
when
towards,
it was doable.
Correct. And the height requirement, though, for a monument sign or freestanding sign is at 15 feet, which
when
it
it's on
meets.
the base on the ground?
Correct. And the base is exempt from it, but it cannot exceed over 15 feet in height. And the actual face of the sign cannot exceed over 50 square feet.
I know. I don't like this sign. I'm going to be honest right now. I don't know if red is grocery outlet's color. I really hate red signs. I don't like them. And you could have put more advertising down here if you didn't have that big high pole. 15-foot sign isn't going to do it for me. So that's my comments.
Just to go back to that previous discussion that Commissioner Lenore was talking about. We were encouraging monument signs, but it's not as I recall, we encourage that.
With landscaping?
With landscaping.
Correct.
But it's not a requirement. Am I correct to say that?
The ordinance allows it up to 15 feet
15
in
feet.
height. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, it
doesn't mean it has to happen.
It doesn't mean that it has to be. In this particular case, the applicant is proposing this freestanding sign because it's more consistent to their grocery outlet monument signs or freestanding signs. But yeah, it doesn't
Big
mean that
red
it has
sign.
to be. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what they're proposing based on the requirements for grocery outlet.
And as the city manager was saying, is that we're just looking at the setbacks and the height.
And the type of sign. We are judging the type of sign. We've said before we like the monument sign with landscaping. That's okay. I do what I'm going to do.
I think the commissioner.
I think that's not good. Look at what it did to that tree right there. It's just, it just seems unnecessary. It's a shopping center right off a road. You're not pulling traffic off a main artery or a highway. It's right there. You see the shopping center. The entrance is right there. You're driving right by it slow. Why does it need to be way up there? You could have a lot of advertising if you were using that base.
Would having a monument sign, having that type of sign, the way it would be set up, would that make it?
The problem with monument signs too is they become an eye hazard or a traffic, when you have a visual triangle there, if you have a monument sign, when people are pulling out of there, it's gonna be more of a hazard. A lot of cities, a 15-foot sign is really not too tall, and it gives people pulling out of that driveway more of be able to see traffic coming down because you don't have a big base or a big cabinet. Right now, you've got, to the bottom of that cabinet, you've got roughly 8 foot. So when you're sitting in your car and you're out there, you're being able to see traffic from both ways. So that's one reason, and we went with what the code read. And, of course, as a sign company and as grocery outlet, they want to see what, they're not, if they can allow, or they're allowed 15 overall feet, they're going to try to use that.
Is there any setback requirement from drive ingresses?
The sign cannot be closer than 10 feet to
a drive ingress?
Correct. There has to be at least a 10-foot separation for line of sight purposes, and just there has to be a minimum of 10 feet for separation for line of sight.
What's the proposed setback from the drive ingress on this particular project? What
they're doing a minimum of 10.
10.
Yeah.
Is there room on the site to move it back from the drive for better visibility for oncoming traffic?
Yeah, it doesn't.
There's nothing there. I mean, that tree. It's It's actually, it's maybe 10 over there. It's a little more than.
So it's right, it's near the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see, I mean, I'd like to be able to accommodate Mike's request. He's been there for a long time. I mean, he's,
My issue isn't with
you know,
what's on there.
so, I mean,
It's
I don't
the
want-
shape, the sign.
yeah.
It's the type of sign I don't like.
Yeah, and my request is not to go up in height, more just those two tenants below Dollar Tree, and then Round Table would increase their size. That's all I'm asking, if it would be considered, because it does exceed 50
I don't think
square
we
feet.
can, I don't think we can approve a variance to the signs, the size of the sign, though. That's not for our purview, unless you approach it as a variance. I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, we can't approve a variance without an application for a variance
Okay.
on that, unfortunately.
Even though we have like 3 different, I mean, I'm not saying this is a workaround, but there's 3 different owners that, in that property. I mean, do they?
There's actually 4, Greg.
So
Yeah, because Chase owns there.
What we have is an ordinance, and we
So I mean, if
can't,
each property
bad they
owner
couldn't
gets
put everybody
X
on
amount
the
of square
sign.
footage for a sign, I mean,
Mhm.
then you can combine that into one. I mean,
Yeah, Chase is not interested because they already have a
Right, they
a
have their
pylon
sign.
sign right
Yeah.
outside
Right.
there. So they're.
But it's not 15 feet high, is it?
I did measure it now. I don't know.
So would Grocery Outlet consider scaling down their portion of it to accommodate the other sign, or?
I can't answer that question. That would be.
I'm speaking with Grocery Outlet, they proposed what they wanted, and, I mean, they're paying the bulk of the sign, so they're adamant that they wanna.
And again, are all their signs red? Is that their, okay.
That's their national
sign.
colors.
Okay. Yeah, that's too bad.
I'm just saying as a workaround, I mean, I'm thinking, okay, so if there's 3 other property owners and each one of them is allowed X amount of square footage for a sign, but we're talking about doing one sign, seems like to me that would be,
See, if you do that, you're gonna block them out from future availability because the sign is gonna be 50 square feet already. So you can't add anybody if you're at 50 square feet. It's not gonna, it doesn't comply, right? So basically you're shutting out the rest of the people in there from any advertising out on the street front.
However, they can come in administratively and do a redesign of the face of the sign, and as long as they comply with the minimum 6-inch lettering, we can approve that
But
administratively.
the chances are they're not gonna do that because they don't wanna do it now. So they're not gonna do it in the future.
That's-
So we're gonna block out the rest of the people there. You can only have so many freestanding signs on the property.
That's correct. You can only have so much.
2, right?
Two freestanding
And there's
signs.
already the Heritage, the bank one,
Correct.
and now this one.
And now this one. That's correct.
do we have, in the North Gateway, do we have any different regulations for types of sign like that? In North Gateway, we're really were strong on monument signs, as I recall, in the North Gateway.
Correct. They're
Can
pretty
this type of
consistent.
sign be, I'm just curious on how the code relates to these types of signs. Freestanding signs, are they allowed in the North Gateway?
They're more consistent. They are, but they're more consistent with the size of the shopping center.
Uh-huh.
Either a smaller, which is smaller shopping center would be 10 acres or less. This is about 4.02 acres. The medium shopping center is like 10 to 15 acres, and then the larger one, it's I think 15 or 20 acres and above. And so the larger shopping centers allow up to an 80 square foot monument sign or freestanding sign, such as the one that Bill mentioned for Heritage Plaza, which is about 30 square feet bigger than this one, and that's because it is a larger shopping center, and
So we're still allowing freestanding signs regardless of what the land use is?
correct. It really it depends on the size of the commercial center as well.
Okay,
And
all right.
And even for example, Heritage Plaza, it goes all the way to where Ace Hardware is basically at. Not everybody necessarily will be placed on the monument sign. They advertise. Each tenant is allowed to have maximum 2 wall signs as well, and a blade sign on their property.
Okay. All right, we still have the public hearing open. Any
That's
other
correct.
questions for Mr. Sokoli?
Sicoli, yeah,
Sicoli.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Mike.
Mike. Thank you. Anybody else care to address the commission on this item? I'll close the public hearing now at 9 minutes to 7. I think Commissioner Lenore raises a good point for the monument sign, but it is within the discretion for a freestanding sign. That, I mean, if you just look at what is allowed by the municipal code for these signs, I personally prefer the monument sign from a visual standpoint, but it's within the allowable height. It meets the setback requirements.
Before we make a motion, if I may, also, I encourage you folks, either, if you'd like, I can read the definitions in the zoning code about a monument sign and a freestanding sign, because I think what we are referring to as a monument sign, I think what you're picturing is a sign that's technically on the ground, right?
Right.
Pillared sign. Okay, that's not the definition in our zoning code either. A monument sign, would you care if I read it real quick?
Yes.
No, go.
I can't read very well, though, I'll be honest with you. Now I got to find it. I'll just read two. Monument sign, freestanding sign.
Okay.
Monument sign means a freestanding sign not erected on one or more poles of similar supports, but erected on the rest of the ground to rest on the monument base designed as an architectural unit with the sign. Now, on this sign here, depending on what your definition of what a pole is or whatever a monument is, you can tell, obviously, in this particular case that if it's a stucco sign, it's going to be a sign, and it narrows down. I know that probably most people are thinking a monument has a base that's greater in size than the sign itself, like a recent one. I just want to make sure that if we want to change the sign ordinance, that we're more clear about what things are and what the actual interpretation or should be. Because I remember having an argument with another sign designer in the past about what a pylon sign is versus a freestanding sign, versus a monument sign, and how many you can have on a particular lot. The other thing that I think that we also need to make sure or are clear on is this. We probably need to adjust our off-site sign requirements when it comes to commercial centers.
Off-site?
Yeah. Because if you technically think about this, right, Mike Sicoli's property is not on the property that this sign is on.
Right.
Okay? That's not the intent. I don't think that we ever intended it to be like that. I just want to make sure that we are clear about how we're going down this path.
Yeah.
But isn't the property line pretty much tangent to the edge of the sidewalk? It looks like the sign is located on the property.
This sign is located on the property that belongs to
But it's not
Grocery
mine.
Outlet.
Yeah.
But it doesn't belong on the property
Round Table.
that Mike Sicoli's Round Table
I see
is.
your
But it's
point.
part of the
Okay.
whole shopping center.
Right.
Yeah.
And but I'm just saying
that's
it.
common sense. I mean, that's
Well,
logical. But it's not correct.
Right.
Theoretically, it's
Right,
not
because
correct.
Mike can come in tomorrow
Yeah.
on his property and ask for a freestanding sign.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I know is not common sense.
That's interesting.
And that's the point that we want to try to avoid, because I know the intent of the ordinance, and just because we have a commercial center that happens to be condominiumized or whatever the case is in the future, we don't want to necessarily have 100 signs in there just because you have 100 spaces or 100 different properties. But so we can work on this if you want to do some amendments to it, so that we're clear as to what we're actually always talking about. And if we want to amend the size of the site and talk about, we can do all those things. I just want to make sure that we're really still only talking about this location and the site and the size.
Yeah.
And I think Chairman
We
Lavoie is
are.
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And the design.
Okay, Bill.
Design.
Yeah.
Site and architectural.
You do have that discretion.
Okay, that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Thanks, Bill. Anything else you want to clarify?
Can I mention something else about the design? Because I noticed the pole is about 24 inches that goes up.
It's about 24 inches, that you could actually see through. And I am in agreement with Sean of having something that would be 7.5 feet wide from the ground up to 15 feet would block a lot of traffic coming out of the center. And
Well, it wouldn't go up 15 feet if it was wide
Well,
on the
yeah.
base.
yeah, I don't know the
You'd
requirements.
have to
but-
limit the height if it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
It's like 8 feet.
Even if the
Because
height is,
you're
say,
not only 50 square feet.
yeah, let's just say it's 10 feet. I don't really
Right.
know exactly what it would be.
is
But,
better.
because our shopping center now is a thoroughfare coming out of, I believe, McCrae Street. They go past by Dollar Tree and come
Yeah.
out right through there as a stop sign.
Yeah.
Because the road ends, you either go into Walgreens or go into our shopping center. So it's an extreme thoroughfare through there. So having said that, it may block the traffic going from the ground up of the site to see who is
Okay.
sitting there waiting to exit out. So having
You got a light.
a pylon sign, I pretty much
There's
agree
a
with.
signal.
That's kind of where I'm at with that, because I think 7.5 feet wide is going to block
Okay.
sight.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
But it's a controlled intersection. It's just this light. You go when it's green, you stop when it's red. If it was uncontrolled intersection, that'd be a different point. Okay, I'm done.
I think you said enough. Oh, no.
Well,
I
it's a
appreciate your
controlled
comments. No, the
intersection.
thing is, you've made good comments, and there is an intersection there. Any other comments?
I just would like to see, I mean, I understand we can't do a variance or whatever, but I just like to find a way to accommodate his request as far as the lettering and to make that work. I mean, I understand we've got our rules and, all that kind of stuff, but
Well, if
I
you,
would just like to find out, and I quite frankly, I agree with the applicant about the sign in this situation. I mean, the other sign we looked at, Heritage Plaza or something like that, it's way back up off the intersection, and there's no, it's not gonna block anything, but this one, and granted, yeah, there's a light there and everything like that. To me, I mean, I think it's fine. I just would like to have a way to accommodate Mike's request. That's my 2 cents.
well,
I
they
think it
limit
gets
the,
accommodated either way.
they can add more tenants on there with
It's
6-inch
just the
letters.
design.
They would have to change the design of the lettering.
Yeah, but I don't wanna see as,
Gabriel, what's your
Squish.
viewpoint?
I like the design that's proposed here. And
You like that design?
I have no issues with it at all.
Okay. All right. What's the pleasure of the commission on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve site and architectural review 2016-3, resolution 2016-17, given the current information provided to us on the staff's update.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on this motion? Okay. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay? Okay. And just for the record, it's not a very firm aye on my part, but I think we need to look at this sign ordinance some more and bring it back in the future.
I think the sign ordinance is good.
Well, I think we need to, if we're gonna have monument signs, then let's really be specific about it. Okay, congratulations. So now we go to new business, San Benito County Draft Affordable Ordinance. I think Gabriel got an email from Gabriel regarding this.
Yes.
It's May 11th, is that correct?
Correct. Fellow commissioners, what was included in your packet is a draft, includes a draft affordable housing ordinance that was prepared by San Benito County planning staff. You should have a copy that was provided in your digital packet, and I believe staff may have handed out a hard copy of that as well. Over the last month or so, several stakeholders within the affordable housing industry have met with the county planning staff to discuss the implementation of an inclusionary housing ordinance, given the growth occurring within the city of Hollister. One of the comments that I made as a commissioner, as well as a key stakeholder in the affordable housing industry for San Benito County and specifically Hollister, was that I would present this draft ordinance to city staff, which I present here this evening, And I also met with the mayor and other stakeholders in the industry to basically get feedback on this draft ordinance in the hopes that the city could be on the same page as the county when it comes to these ordinances, because in many cases, I would say in almost all cases, where this development is proposed, a lot of the future development that is proposed within our city or our area will impact city services, water, sewer, and I think it's critical that we have a voice in the development of this ordinance. So that's what I am presenting here this evening. I'm also presenting a notice that was posted in the Hollister Freelance regarding the meeting that will be scheduled on Wednesday, May 11th at 6 p.m. And so it's open to the public. We have been forwarding this information to many of the stakeholders, to residents, nonprofit agencies, and many of the businesses in town that are ultimately impacted by future growth and providing housing for the workforce, basically. And again, this is at the last meeting I did provide some income level scales that talked about low income, moderate income, and so this meeting will fulfill the gamut of all of those income levels, and basically it will call it workforce housing. So I think the question that did come up, and maybe we can ask council here, I'm hoping this meeting, they were trying to get a lot of the elected officials there, and I don't know if staff has been in contact, county council has been in contact with city council in regards to the impact of Brown Act, if we're not violating any Brown Acts, having certain number of elected or appointed officials at this meeting. So I don't know if they've been in communication with that. That did come up during the last county planning commission meeting, but I've yet to see an email where that was addressed. So I don't know how that impacts the number of potential city planning commissioners attending this meeting, because it is noticed, it is out there. So that would be a question that I would have for Paul. But again, it's open to the public for this meeting. I think it's a critical document that we all need to be involved in.
Totally agree with that.
Okay.
I'd like to see good tenants from this commission there, May 11th.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Okay, and then the second item that I have on the agenda, I had mentioned to Abraham, again, in the housing industry, and having planning background as well. We are members of the American Planning Association, and the local chapter is, I have my copy here, thank you. Our local chapter, Monterey County chapter, is actually encouraging commissioners to, if they are not members of the American Planning Association, encouraging members to forward excerpts from the monthly magazines that are provided in regards to feedback for commissioners or food for thought articles. And so this evening I did present this month's Commissioner Corner, if you will, and I will be providing these on a monthly basis via the APA to the commissioners. So we have we're up to speed on what is being provided to planning commissioners nationwide.
Excellent.
So we have a sense of roles and responsibilities. Obviously, we all go through these ethics training classes, but there are other items that they discuss, and I think it'd be critical for our planning commissioners to be up to speed on what's impacting the planning field and commissioners specifically. So I will be bringing these on a monthly basis.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Planning Commission reports. Oh, did you had a question for council?
Before you
Yes.
go on to Planning Commission reports, thank you,
About
Chairman.
the Brown
You're
Act.
right. I was in attendance at that meeting as well, and I think the consensus of the Planning Commission for the county at that time was to have staff get in touch with planning staff at the city to organize a workshop that both commissions could attend. So it would require, if it was a meeting to be attended by the Hollister City Planning Commission, it would need to have been noticed for a special meeting or a joint meeting of both commissions. So the county would have had to put out their notice, the city would have had to provide their notice as well. In reviewing this notice here, it looks like it's simply being noticed as a planning commission for the county of San Benito. I don't know if anybody at the county planning department got in touch with anybody at the city department or not.
They did. They called us to inform us about this meeting as well.
Okay.
Yes, and I know that there was talks about doing a joint planning commission, City of Hollister and San Bernardino County meeting, but this particular meeting would be a topic of discussion for that, based on previous city planning commission meetings that we've had. But then again, I'm not sure if legally we can have that joint for the 11th for both commissions to participate, or if any of the commissioners can be in the public. But they did tell us, they called us to inform us that they're going to have a meeting on May 11th. But not to schedule it.
Okay, so then my suggestion would be that if it's the desire of members of the Planning Commission to attend, probably looking at requiring, since this is an item that's come up for the city, could potentially be on an agenda in the future, it's probably better to be safe than sorry and to notice it if the entire commission is going to attend as the Hollister City Planning Commission. I don't know if we have enough time to do that at this point.
So that means we can't attend until if it is improperly
Yeah, I think
noticed.
the intent is to have a workshop of essentially a free flow of communication. Staff, I know they talked about having staff there. They talked about having market rate developers attend and provide input. Affordable housing industry members attend and provide input. Private landowners, planning staff. If the commission wanted to attend, do we have an affordable housing item coming up on a future agenda or anything?
Let me say a few words regarding the joint meeting, because that was on my task list to call the chairman, Pierce, and work on an agenda for a joint meeting. I haven't been able to do that yet. I just for a variety of reasons. But I do have that on my task list to do that next week, to contact Chairman Pierce and work on an agenda. And I'd like anyone in this commission to let me know what they would like included on it. But and we could talk about affordable housing at that joint meeting and have it properly noticed for sure. But this would be something different from, of course, what we're talking about for May 11th. Then.
Yeah, if
But
there was.
for the sake of this meeting, couldn't we ask the chairman and Gabriel Torres to attend without violating the Brown Act?
Just two.
Yeah, as long as it's less than
I
the
would-
majority of the planning
I'd like to
commission.
attend the meeting.
I would be
So
in
we just
favor
have-
of that, not trying to cut you out, Greg, but
Gabriel and
I think
myself.
it's important for the chairman and Gabriel to be there.
I'd be happy to attend. I do have strong feelings about this.
And then they can report to us, correct?
Yes.
Perfect.
So the chair could appoint essentially an ad hoc committee of himself and Gabriel Torres to attend and then report back.
Right. That's what I'd like to do. I'd appoint myself and Commissioner Torres to attend that May 11th meeting.
I'll stay outside and sell popcorn.
No, you can have the beer later. Okay. The Golden State Warriors play May 11th?
Let's wrap it up.
Okay, let's wrap it up. All right. I was supposed to go play a gig at 7 o'clock. Now I'm going to be late. Okay, so any other planning commission reports? I have a motion for adjournment. We're adjourned until May 26th.
Aye.
My gosh, we got another one right around the corner. Boy, oh boy.
Said he's late, man. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm late. I got to go.